Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you for joining me. Thank you once again. Salute. Okay, let me get comfortable. So apologies last night. I wanted to quickly come on, even as soon as last night, to make a video, kind of talking about this just the Toronto Blue Jays advance into the World Series and how awesome that was, how incredible it ended up being. But sadly enough, the game got underway because I'm overseas. The game started at like 1:10 in the morning and didn't finish until much later in the morning. So by the time it was over, was really late over here. So wasn't able to get on and make a video about it. But I definitely wanted to come on today and talk about it on the heels of this 2025 MLB World Series. Now, uniquely enough, this year was just very unique in regards to, as I said in a previous video that I released a couple days ago. um I gave out my MLB future very early this year, so it had to be a couple weeks before the season had even started. And that was strange for me because usually I like to take a little bit more time, uh and I usually wait until the season actually gets underway for about a couple of weeks. um but yeah, the information that I had, the research that I had done, just really was screaming out to me, and I felt very confident and compelled to put the information out at the earliest possible time that I had it, in order to take advantage of great odds, right? So, for those of you that don't know, I released it yesterday, but prior to the MLB season starting, right, the Toronto Blue Jays odds to not only to win the regular season, their division and their conference was extremely profitable, great ROI. Um, Toronto just had a bad record last year, and they were, in regards to rankings, ranked the 20th team as far as 1 through 32, the 20th team as far as power rankings, right? And they had a 1.6 chance in regards to their World Series odds. 1.6, right? And I'll show that to you so you guys don't have to take my word for it, but it's an article that was released by ESPN. Let me bring it up for you because I never want you to take my word for it. It's always, I always have to. So these are the rankings prior to the season starting last year. Just so you guys know, let me go right here. This article was released March 25th, 2025. Okay. This is the power rankings. So we scroll all the way down. Right. They even have these teams categorized. Okay. If you take a look here, number 20. Okay. Their projected record for this year was 83-79. Right. So just 4 games over 500. Right. A 39% chance to make the playoffs and a 1.6% chance to make the World Series. 1.6 chance. Okay. 1.6. I want you guys to actually grasp how small that is. 1.6 is astronomically small. Okay. The odds, to just insane. I saw as high as 66 to 1. Toronto was, I guess, to win the World Series. So I guess to make the World Series, you would just cut that in half. So around, like I said, 30 something to 1 for Toronto to make the World Series, which obviously after last night they did, right? Like I said, super excited, super hype about this, our American League future actually panning out, right? And it was funny too because, when I was giving this out, when I told people what team I had coming out of the American League, a lot of people, everybody pretty much was surprised, and some people even laughed at it, like, what, like, they even ask for additional information to double and triple check, like, why do you favor the Toronto Blue Jays to come out of the American League? And look where we are now. And this video that I put out, that was released, it was released prior to Game 6. So if you go to my channel, there was a video that I released 2 days ago, and it's called "Things to Know About This Year's World Series." Right. This was prior to Game 6, and I let people know, full transparency in that video, that even though Seattle was up 3-2, and there was some things there connecting Seattle to a possible World Series berth, right, to possibly make it to the World Series, my MLB future representing the American League was and will remain the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, this is when they were down 3-2, facing elimination not only in Game 6, but if they did happen to win Game 6, they would be facing elimination, obviously, in the Game 7. Okay. Um, and what made that a little tricky is because if you check the video, I made some comparisons between the Seattle Mariners and then the OKC Thunder in the NBA, which originally was the Seattle Supersonics, then became an expansion team and were bought and sold and moved to Oklahoma City. Seattle Mariners, Seattle Supersonics. Um, but yeah, Seattle Mariners, Seattle Supersonics, aka OKC Thunder, went to 7 games in the NBA Finals, and the Seattle Mariners now go to 7 games in the American League Conference Series. Right. So same year, same type of thing happening with Game Sevens for these respective teams that do have a connection, right, with the Seattle birth, or Seattle connection. Okay. So yeah, I did make that video. You guys can check. Let me bring it up right here. Hold on. So you guys will see. Okay, so if you go on over to my channel, it's this video right here. Things to know about this year's MLB World Series. So I put it out before Game 6, so you guys could kind of like understand some of the things that I identified and the things that jumped out to me. And again, being fully transparent about who we had coming out of the American League, right? Now, some people are actually foolish enough to think that, so if I speak about gematria often when it comes to my channel, my work, and obviously when talking about rig sports, right? And I've seen people simply say that, oh, and listen, I know because I keep my ear to the ground. Also, um, you know, when you build up these communities like I build up mine, right? A lot of times people, they converse, they kind of shoot ideas across to each other, and um, sometimes people support multiple different platforms or multiple different channels or multiple different, researchers, right? So um the Blue Jays were not a very, very popular pick when it came to making the World Series, just because of how bad of a season they had last year. Now, on the surface, right, it's easy to say, hey, this is the 121st World Series and Blue Jays equals 121, right? So that's why a lot of people will harp on. They'll say, oh, well, look how simple it is. All you write is Blue Jays, it equals 121. They have to make the 121st World Series. Well, it doesn't work like that, because last year was the 120th World Series and Atlanta equals 120. Atlanta was not in the 120th World Series. Okay. Or the prior year was the 119th World Series. Mariners equals 119. The Mariners were not in the 119th World Series. So to try and say that this is really the crux of your research is Blue Jays equals 121, so they have to make the 121st World Series, or to try and take some credit away from people who actually did research and very, very compelling, made very, very compelling arguments connecting why they strongly felt Toronto should be there. To just say, oh, and chalk it up simply as, oh, Blue Jays equals 121. So they should be in the 121st World Series. No, it doesn't work like that. And it's actually it's actually kind of disrespectful to just kind of make that argument, right? In spite of this, I've just showed you the previous 2 years where numbers connecting to specific teams had no connection in what the World Series ended up being, um, in spite of having those connecting numbers to that World Series, right? So doesn't work like that. Um, Shout out to my supporters, the people that actually invested in this MLB future. It was actually awesome, kind of sweating out the entire season and seeing it come to fruition. Right, the Blue Jays had an awesome regular season, and yeah. So I do want to say congratulations, and I'm happy to have another accomplishment to add to the resume. Um, Futures are very, very difficult to do. A lot of people stay away from them because of how hard they are, and also a lot of people love to make numerous futures declarations. They'll have 5 Super Bowl teams, or they'll have 5 World Series picks, or they'll have 5 NBA championship picks, or they'll make one pick, then pivot to another pick, and then pivot to another pick, and then pivot to another pick. We've always been of the belief that we choose one World Series, one NBA championship, one NFL Super Bowl, and we ride with it. Regardless of the outcome, we've always been fully transparent with the success, or being incorrect. Listen, you can't be correct every year. It happens, right? But being transparent, I've always felt, is very, very important, and that's what I believe, and that's what I've always done. So yeah, it's awesome to hit another one. Obviously, being fully transparent, I did not have uh the Toronto Blue Jays as my World Series. I had the Toronto Blue Jays to win the American League, and play a different team in the National League, I should say. So we got the National League wrong, but we got the American League correct, right? So that's what I will say, being fully transparent. The American League World Series uh, participant correct, and the National League World Series participant hours unfortunately was incorrect. However, Toronto, because it was such a long shot, the ROI and the return on investment was astronomical compared to the National League pick anyway. So ended up paying off, and still ended up coming out on the right side as far as making our money and multiplying the investment. Okay, again, just being fully transparent. Now, boom. So congratulations, cheers. Thank you once again to all the supporters. Appreciate you guys. Now, watching this, please like, share, and subscribe. Cost you absolutely nothing but a couple of seconds. Thumbs up on the video. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated. Okay, boom. Now we're done with that. Uh, Again, shout out to everybody messaging me about congratulations. Shout out to all the cashing tickets for the American League East Division winners, the American League Conference winners paying out, as well as the World Series participants. Salute to everybody. I see all the messages. Thank you for the people that even went the next step further and sent their gratitude, as far as in the form of Cash App and PayPal tips. Again, in this world, in this business right here, when you make predictions and do show people how rigged sports are, and call games winners and stuff like that. Tips, for some reason, I don't know why, it's like tips are very few and far between, when it really should be the opposite of that, right? When you go to a restaurant and you order food and it's good service, you leave a tip. Um, you know, when you pay for a service and people do a good job, you like to show gratitude and put good vibes out in the universe and give a tip. Reward hard work and success. But for some reason, in this business and in this community, we're supposed to be like the truthers. Um, but yeah, we won't. You'll tip the pizza guy, you'll tip the Uber guy, you'll tip everybody else, but you won't tip the person that breaks their back researching this type of stuff, calling futures months and months in advance before the season even starts, giving you great ROI, return on investment, and multiplying your money, um, kind of solidifying your future financial comfortability. It's crazy, but yeah. Anyway, So I do want to talk a little bit about the World Series as well. For those of you that didn't see the video that I just showed you, right? It's you should check it out. It was an awesome video, right? But I do want to talk about some things in regards to this World Series. Now, again, I spoke about the connection between the NBA and the MLB, right? You have OKC, Seattle Supersonics expansion team went to 7 games. Seattle Mariners went to 7 games in the ALCS. You have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the star player from OKC, is a Canadian. Um, he Obviously we have Toronto Blue Jays, our Canadian-based team. The World Series is actually starting on October 24th, which happens to be Drake's 39th birthday. Drake is the largest superstar of Canadian race that I can think of when it comes to just superstardom, celebrity, everything. So yeah, his birthday is October 24th, and this World Series will be starting on his 39th birthday, right? So that's significant as well, right? Also, if you take a look back at the some of the numbers I was speaking about, right? You have just connecting October 24th, leaving 68 days left in the year. Okay. Toronto Blue Jays equals 68. For those of you that don't know, I'll show you. Toronto Blue Jays equals 68 in single reduction. The World Series starts on 68 days, leaving 68 days left in the year. Championship equals 68 in full reduction. This dark blue cipher here. Um, the Toronto Blue Jays did finish with 68 losses during the regular season. Okay. So all those connections to 68. Also, the American League is currently on 68 World Series wins. So there's been 120 previous World Series. The American League has won 68. The National League has won 52. So just something for you to be aware of. Toronto Blue Jays does equal 68, right? The World Series starts on the day leaving 68 days left, and the American League is currently on 68 World Series wins. Be aware of that, okay? And Toronto did finish the regular season with 68 losses on the season, okay? 68 regular season losses. So now, also, the first going back to Drake now. If you guys go back, and this is all stuff you can check, you don't have to take my word for it, right? We'll bring it up. If you see Drake, his Iceman, which is his new album that he will be releasing at some point during this year. Don't know if it's going to coincide with what will happen in this World Series, but Drake released the first Iceman episode on July 5th. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know the significance of July 5th, it is because when you write that out, July 5th can be written 7-5 as we write it in America, but in the rest of the world, they write it as 5/7, like 57, which just happens to be a World Series number. World Series equals 57 in the purest cipher, right? And World Series 57 is a championship number because when you write it out, 57 equals 131 right here in the English ordinal, just like championship, right? So none of this is by accident, right? All these dates are significant, don't happen just because. It's not a coincidence, right? And it's not a conspiracy. What I'm doing is I'm showing you how these things are connected, how these numbers are significant. Why this? Why that? Why that? Okay. Boom. Um, Also, things to be aware of. Toronto previously was in the World Series in 1992 and 1993, and they won both of those years. So every World Series that the Toronto Blue Jays have been in, again, they haven't been in too many, but they were in two, and they won both of them. Right? They have an 8-4 record in the World Series games, and they have a 2-0 record in the World Series itself overall. They've gone twice, they've won twice, 92 and 93. And both those times were versus NL East opponents, right? They beat the Phillies in one World Series, and they beat the Atlanta Braves in another one. Okay. So that's, all stuff to be aware of, right? And as well as the Los Angeles Dodgers, right? Between LA and Brooklyn, they've been there 22 times and they've won 8, right? So they've won 8 World Series. This, if they win this World Series, that would be 9. Okay. Uh, so these are all things to be aware of as well. Uh, let's see what else I want to talk about. Oh yeah, so yeah, and then talking about just as well the futures and stuff like that, right? When you look at the American League, there were a ton of teams that people favored over Toronto. Let's just go over some of them. New York Yankees, one of them, obviously. Okay, Baltimore Orioles, another one, right? Um, let's see, Detroit Tigers, another one. Cleveland Guardians, another one. Uh, Minnesota Twins, another one. Tampa Bay Rays, another one. Let's see. These are all teams that were projected to do better than Kansas City Royals, another one. These are all teams that were projected to do better than the Toronto Seattle Mariners, another one. Okay. Houston Astros, another team. Um, let's see what else. Boston Red Sox, another team. Texas Rangers, another one. It's just so many, right? New York Yankees, obviously. So just to say that, you picked a front running team, or it was super easy to pick the Toronto Blue Jays to represent the American League, that's just incorrect and it's false, right? Incorrect and it's false. Now this will be getting underway very, very soon. As far as the games, they start in a couple of days, 3 days exactly. And I do have a team that I do lean to win this World Series. I'm not going to say it here. I'm not going to give it away, obviously. But this is all the reason for this video is just to talk generally about some of the things that stick out and stuck out on these about this World Series, about the future that we had and everything like that. Also, this it's a celebration, um, and it's about recognition as well. It's about putting it out there. It's about uh, acknowledging another accomplishment because it's very, very difficult to do, right? But letting the people know, letting everybody know, Gematria, it's another win for Gematria, right? 100%. Just another win. It's all across the board. Super, super happy about it. And leading into coming up to the World Series over the next couple of days, there's going to be storylines all across the board, right? They're going to start leaking things. The media's, the mainstream media, the sports media, they're going to start pushing their belief system, their propaganda, and stuff like that. There will be storylines that will be leading up to the games. There will be more celebrity athlete deaths as well. We always see around this time of year going to the World Series, the championships, any championships. There's always athletes that are in the news about either being very, very sick or having health issues or passing away. So we haven't seen the last of it. We will see more. It's not gonna. It will not be. It's not done. So just be aware. Be very, very present. Pay attention to what they're pushing out. Pay attention to what they want you to believe. And I will leave you on that. I do want to say once again, congratulations to everybody. Cheers, salute, salute, salute. Super happy about everything. Just another great accomplishment with great odds, over 30-1 odds for Toronto to represent the American League in the World Series. Super, super awesome. So on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. Take care, guys. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace and love as always. And for those of you that don't and have not already joined, get on over to the Patreon at Flipping the Script Sports on Patreon. Join up right now. Uh, we have the MLB season coming to an end, but the World Series is about to start. The NHL season underway, NFL season underway, and the NBA season is coming back in a couple of days. So prime time, and UFC always on the board. NCAA football, college football, and college basketball about to get underway as well. College football already underway. So yeah, super, super excited about what the rest of the year has to hold. And get on board. Come join out the most profitable sports community in the world. Take care. I'll see you guys soon. Mr. Futures, aka Victor. If you, for those of you that don't know, tap in with me on Instagram at Mr. Futures, Mr.Futur, the number 3 and S. And on Patreon, I do have posted a telephone number. You can reach out to me directly. Still booking consultations every single day. Take advantage of one-on-one meetings with myself. It's proven to be very, very profitable since we started doing that. So yeah, take advantage of those while you still can. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Peace and vibes as always. Salute, salute, salute. And congratulations. Take care.